Now, you've exited from two successful brands. When did you start preparing for the exit?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. Um, I think that's a very important question that every entrepreneur should ask him or herself. Like when you are starting, you should have an exit plan. So for me, this was a specific amount of sales. So when I saw this specific amount of sales, it doesn't matter if we're talking about 100 sales, 1,000, 100,000, it doesn't matter. It really depends on you. So when I saw this, I thought to myself, now is the time to start talking to some investors and potential buyers and see if I can find someone to buy the business because my goal is achieved. So let's move to the next stage. This business is boring to me. So and I started talking with different people. I have used some platforms, and then in a matter of I think it was close to 2 months, I was able to sell it in a good profit.
I really like what you said there. The business got boring. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid to say that the business is boring. What are your thoughts about when what happens when a business becomes boring? If it becomes boring for you, are you no longer committed to it, or is it that you just want to move on and do your next thing?
Yeah, it really depends how boring it is to me. In the beginning stages of this boring situation, I try to see if there are ways to make it more fun, or if it is close to my other goal, which is the exit. So if it is too boring and I see that there is no way in the current stage to make it with not so much effort to become more fun and more interesting and more exciting, then I move to plan B, which is to give it to someone to continue using it and get some uh, percentage of it in the future, or just try to sell it at the current stage. But in most of the cases, when this happens, I'm very close or I have already achieved my goal of being able to, like, being ready to sell the business. And I proceed with the this opportunity and to try to actually sell it.
I was having a conversation with an entrepreneur earlier on today, and he was saying that his business was producing great sales. So it was producing the right amount of sales, was producing great income, but it wasn't his passion. And he almost felt that it was difficult and almost sociably unacceptable to say that he wasn't passionate about his business, but it made great money. And so he didn't know whether to keep the business or move on. And the conversation continued, and we talked about building a cash cow. And I think it's a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs' dream that they have a business that just produces sales and money, and they call it the cash cow. And the beautiful part about having that cash cow and that business that just makes money, even if you don't like it, it starts to fuel your other passions. Your other passion might be a particular way of life. It could be incorporating travel with building your business, or it could just be funding your own passion projects. And so as we had that conversation, he realized that he had a cash cow, but what he needed to move on to was a passion. And then he saw that, hey, I can take this money from the cash cow and start to put it in the passion project. And that gave him a totally different view on the business. For me, I love my business and I look out in the future and I want to be doing what I'm doing into my 80s because I really like it and it suits my personality. But I also understand that a lot of other people have a product and service that they're not that passionate about. Makes money, sales coming in. It's not bad, but it's not what they really want. So I really like to hear that you said it became boring.
Yeah, I can add something to that, by the way. I completely agree that sometimes it's good to keep it as a cash cow, if it is possible, actually. Because sometimes, when you have been building it, you haven't built it in a way to be able, so you don't have to put a lot of time and effort in it. So if you haven't built it in this way, it's hard to just be a cash cow, because for my on my understanding about cash cow, this means that you don't have to put that much effort in order to continue getting the sales and the cash. But if you have to put a lot of time and effort, then you will not have enough time for your patients and other things, because you are going to be exhausted. Your mind will be constantly in this business. So that's why my thinking in most cases is like, I'm going to sell it, so my brain stops thinking about it. Because when I have something as a business, as a project, it may not be a business. My brain is constantly thinking how to make it better, how to achieve more, how to help more, and things like that. So it just doesn't stop. When I sell it, I just stop thinking about it completely, even if I have given it to someone and I just got a small percentage. But this is just one of the things that is happening to me. So here is another fun option, actually, that someone may consider. Actually, the reality is that my degree is in dentistry. So I am officially a dentist. So I'm sure that this may surprise many people, but it's very much related to what you just said. It was very hard to actually become a dentist. Like it's very, very hard. 6 years of studying, very, very hard exams. I'm sure that everybody knows that, like, dentistry and medicines are some of the hardest professions in the world. But when I was finishing it, because we had the chance to work with patients during our studies, I realized that this is not my passion. This is not something that I want to work my whole life. So I started working as a dentist. I quickly got a good amount of clients, a good amount of cash, and opportunities because of that, due to the fact that I have been a marketer with for more than, I think it was 6 or 7 years when I finished studying dentistry. So I was able to quickly generate enough patients to my practice, which actually helped me to realize even further that I don't want to work this my whole life. But it's fun to do it from time to time. Like, you meet some people, you know how to help them. You are their therapist also. So it's very cool. So what I decided is that I'm going to reduce as much as possible my patients, and I'm going to work as a dentist just as a hobby. And I'm not going to leave my practice completely. But because I have the team that is taking care of everything else, like, my brain doesn't have to think about how to make it better, how to achieve more, how to help more people, and things like that. I have the team for that. So I just go there and do some work from time to time, just for fun, just because I want to be my hobby.
What a beautiful option to have. And I think for other people who are practicing in the medical field, that's probably their dream as well. Because for a lot of medical practitioners, I know that general practitioners in Australia, they might have to see 40 patients per day, if not more. And they've got to do it 5 to 6 days a week. And a lot of them say it just becomes transactional. It's just clipping the ticket, another person coming in, and they've lost that enjoyment and that passion for it. When I was living in the Middle East, I was in Dubai, and I met two sisters, and they had both studied dentistry in Alexandria in Egypt. And so they went through their 6 and 7 years of training. They were fully qualified, and after all of that time, they could have earned around about $600 as a dentist in Egypt. And they knew that they'd never be able to achieve financial freedom. They'd never be able to have a luxury style of life. So both sisters resigned from dentistry and got jobs with Emirates Airline. And when they were working with Emirates Airline, they were earning 8 to 9 times more per month serving chicken and beef at 40,000 feet. And one of them, once she had that enjoyment of traveling the world, she then went back to dentistry, but in Dubai, where she could earn a much better living. And the other sister, who enjoyed flying, ended up using her skills in the aviation college and started to teach medical and first response in the aviation college. So they've done something similar to you because they couldn't see themselves having the life they wanted, having a practice because of the stress. And I heard many years ago, dentists specifically, it's the hardest out of all the medical professions. And it also has one of the highest rates of suicide around the world because of the stress that comes with building a clinic. So it's really fascinating that you say that. You've scaled a brand from 0 to 7 figures in under 6 months. And we always hear about all the success and how easy it goes for all these people scaling the businesses. I had a gentleman on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he built a business from 0 to 17 million in 8 months. He was spending $150,000 per day on ads. And after 8 months, he had nothing. And it was quite a fascinating conversation to learn from his failures. In Leverage, we say we can learn from people's success, and we can also learn from their failures. What were some of the setbacks? What were some of the failures that you experienced along the way? And how did you navigate around that during that 6-month period?
That's a great question. I think that maybe I should mention something that may be interesting for many to hear. What has happened that has actually helped me to come up with the idea of this business. So I had a partner from United States during this time. So we have been working on dropshipping together. So we have been selling products that we haven't seen. Others have been delivering them for us. So it was an easy delivery type of business. We have been just focused on the sales, the Facebook ads actually during this period, and customer support and sending all the orders to our fulfillment centers. But when there was a moment when we found a great product, a great elephant that our customers loved. Like, we have been generating hundreds of sales per day in just a few days. Like, from 5 sales on the first day, we have been able to scale to 200 sales on the 4th day. And something very interesting happened on the 7th day of this journey. We got a cease and desist letter from a lawyer. So we found out that we have been selling a product that has been copied from a very, very old company. But our manufacturers, they didn't tell us anything about that. We have been just selling it because they recommended it as a great quality, as a product that people love and things like that. But they have never said to us that they have copied the product. And these guys, they have actually, this big company, they had the designs patent or something like that. I don't know how it is called, but I was hearing about that for the first time. So because of that, we had to shut down everything, the project, the company, the business, the sales, to hire lawyers. So it was a complete mess for a few months. It was very stressful. Like, my relationships with the partner, they have been really bad during this time because, like, going through these lawyers stupidity was very hard. So we thought to ourselves, like, the next time when we start selling selling new products, we are going to research it heavily, like, to be sure that there will be no issues. We have a manufacturer that can stay behind the product. So one day I stumbled upon on something like that, and it's fun because actually you have this product in your office right now, and it is your Himalayan salt lamp. So one day I found this Himalayan salt lamp, and I thought to myself, this is a very cool product. I think we can sell it. So we started contacting different manufacturers, because actually there are many companies that are getting and creating these Himalayan salt lamps. The process is not that hard, but you need the right partner. So we have been able to make the deal with the biggest exporter of Himalayan salt lamps in the world. Actually, it's in the top 5. So we started selling Himalayan salt lamps, and it quickly, like I mentioned, it quickly started to take off. We started with 30 sales from the first week to 500 sales on the second week, and it was scaling, and we reached a point where our manufacturer said to us that only Amazon is selling more lamps in United States than us. But
Wow.
we had the main setback was actually with the money, because you have to pay to these guys very fast. Sometimes we had to wait to get our money to our bank account from payment processors. So we needed to figure out how to get faster a credit, so we can use these funds to scale faster and faster, which actually has helped us to increase the sales, because we needed to scale down for quite some time the sales, so we can figure this out. So this was the first issue that we had to figure out, which I think it's a great issue to have. Then the second problem was how to make to scale up again the ads that we have scaled down, because sometimes Facebook works in strange ways, and when you scale down, sometimes it's hard to scale up. So we had to implement new marketing strategy, actually new marketing tactic, which was to use also called pre-sale articles, which are articles where you give value about a topic, and then you sell in the end or in the middle somewhere in the article you are selling your product. In our case, it was in the end of the article. So this helped us to actually generate even better amount of sales for cheaper amount of money, because we have been giving value even before people receiving their product. So this was the second issue, and the third one actually led to the situation that we needed to stop this business immediately. And we didn't resolve it. Actually, we resolved it in a way that the business was killed in a matter of weeks. And not because of that, not because of the manufacturer, not because of the delivery customers or something like that. It was because I have picked the wrong partner. So, when the funds come in big piles, when they come to your partnership, they attack it heavily. Like, if you don't have a partner on the other side who is not that commercial, who is more like a relationship than what's going to happen with the business, how much money we're going to make, someone who values you more than the money, then you have a problem. And it was sad that I realized that when I was putting so much effort in time in this business to scale it that heavily, because he has been dealing only with the part of the delivery. I was the guy who has doing all the marketing, all the ads, like the heavy lifting was from me. But when the funds started coming in, the relationship started to have a lot of trouble. So I thought to myself, I can't do much about it, because actually he has the keys for the bank accounts, because all the banks have been in United States. I wasn't in United States. I wasn't actually officially a partner in this business because we scaled it so fast that we didn't have the chance to even make all the documents right. So we have been so passionate about this business that I haven't even thought that this is possible. It was my mistake. I totally get it. It's completely my mistake. That's why I was the person who said, okay, keep everything. I'm leaving. It's yours. And I left the business.
What a journey. Like a roller coaster. And I think a lot of businesses dream of just finding that one product and having it walk out the door with little to no effort. I think that's everybody's dream. But the reality is that there's going to be so many challenges along the way. Business partners, we hear this all the time, people choosing the wrong business partner. They might be technically great at what they do, but when you become a partner, the troubles begin. And I think choice there is absolutely essential. Thinking through how you exit a business, as a coach, I always say to my clients, have you got your exit plans in place? When you hit your $1 million or your $10 million, or if you get sick, or if your business partner becomes incapacitated, how do you get out of the business? Because I think it's very easy to get into any business, but getting out and still making it financial is another challenge. I've personally exited businesses before, and it can be a very long cycle. I remember one I exited, it took me close to a year to exit the business. And emotionally, it takes a big toll. The stress, I used to have dark brown hair, but now I've got white hair. Those things that we don't think about. That's amazing. Now that you've gone through that experience, what direction are you heading now, and what's the new problem that you're now solving for business people?
Yeah, before I answer your question, I just want to add one thing that I think is important people to understand, and it is that if you are going to work with a partner, be sure to have all the documents signed up before you start, not when you see the money coming in, because this is how you are going to get a lot of troubles. Because this was my thinking. We are going to figure this out when we see the funds, but when they starting jumping in, there have been other problems which have moved this away from my brain. So I forgot about it. So when you are starting a business with a partner, always have everything written and signed up. No matter if we're talking about $5, $500,000, it doesn't matter. Everything should be signed up. Like when we reach this point, you are getting this, I'm getting this. During this point, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend 5 hours every day, you are going to spend 8 hours every day. For this, you're getting this, I'm getting this, because you're doing this, I'm doing this, and everything is written. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of troubles. So closing this page, now answering your question. So
it's wonderful advice.
Yeah, this is what I learned, actually. This is my learning from this very, very, very expensive lesson. In the end of the previous year, my current co-founder, I know him for quite some time. We have been studying together, so I know him as a person, so I'm not afraid of such thing happening again, and we have everything signed up. Just to mention this, it's important. He invited me to start a project where we can solve a problem that we both have. And it was commenting on LinkedIn. So someone who is new to LinkedIn or who is not using LinkedIn may ask, why commenting? What's the meaning of commenting at all? LinkedIn is a place where you go and fill up your resume details and CV details, and you start looking for job. Yeah, in the beginning, LinkedIn was that, but LinkedIn is no longer a resume board. Actually, LinkedIn is a sea of opportunities, and LinkedIn is your chance to get your dream job in the dream company. Otherwise, you may not be able to get there. So actually, when you are starting, of course, you need to fill your profile in the best possible way. But then what's next? Like, are you going to contact people from companies and tell them, look me, I'm great, you need to hire me? Like, you realize, I suppose, that nobody is going to care about you. Nobody is going to check your amazing profile because nobody has the time for that. Like, who is you? Like, I don't care. Maybe you're a superstar in Hollywood, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't care about that. I don't know you. I haven't heard about you. Why I should spend even a minute of my time to check your profile when I'm seeing you for the first time and you want to work in my company? Like, who are you? Like, and in order to change that, you have to build trust first with people, right? It doesn't matter if we are talking about getting a job or making a sale. You need to build trust first and show that you are a valuable person. Otherwise, people will not waste their time. There are plenty of ways for them to waste their time, and they're probably utilizing most of them. So why they should spend time on you? And the best way to do that is actually through commenting on LinkedIn, on their posts, on their friends' posts, and start building relationships, not to go and sell yourself from the first minute, because the chance of succeeding is very small. And you have, let's say, 10, 20 companies that are your dream companies. Are you going to waste all your 20 opportunities just by sending connection requests with some stupid notes that nobody's going to read? Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, why I would risk that? One day, maybe someone can say, hey, check this guy, he looks great. And the person can say, yeah, I know this guy. He spammed me with a connection request. I remember him. So no, this is not our guy. I don't care about him. And you are out of the game. But if you have been more strategic and not that pushy from the beginning, and you try to actually give value and show your authority in front of these people just by trying to help them solve a problem that they have, or share a tip, an experience, a case study, something that you have gone through and you have solved thanks to your skills, then they'll see you and probably they will come to you and offer you work that you may not be even looking for at this stage. But the only way to do that when you are just starting out and nobody knows about your LinkedIn profile except your friends and family is through commenting. Like, even if you start posting, who is going to see your posts? Most probably mainly your friends and family and a few more people. But what's the chance these people to be the right people that you need to get you the job that you are dreaming of? But when you start commenting under the posts of these decision makers, they start seeing you. And like, after a few weeks, even after 1 week, they may be thinking about you and thinking of way to use your skills, because you obviously know your stuff, and they believe that you can be the talent that can scale their company further or solve a problem that they have. So you have appeared in front of them and you have started building the trust. And this is how you win actually on LinkedIn, and this is how you get more opportunities than that you expect. So because of that, like, we thought to ourselves, we need to start commenting more. This is the way to grow both of our businesses. But both, like, we have been really bad in comments. We have been commenting like for quite some time. We had profiles for more than 2 years, just with an optimized profile. So only friends have found me on LinkedIn and asked me for a connection request. I haven't received any opportunities, even though my profile was great, was perfectly filled. based on the standard understandings, not on micro understandings. So my co-founder said, look, there is a way to solve this for us, for me and you, through the help of AI. Let's try and see if we can solve our problem. And then if we figure out that this really solves our problem, then we can try to sell it to other people. And this is how actually it started.
It's interesting that you talk about this, because I remember my journey when I started using Facebook. I would make posts and people from my school would write to me and they'd say, Daniel, I liked your post, but there was a lot of spelling mistakes in there. And I'm not the best speller. And I then stopped writing a lot. I thought, you know what, if I'm having spelling and grammar errors, it's probably not the best reflection on me. And I struggled with that for years. And so to solve that problem many years ago, I went and hired a ghostwriter. I had somebody do marketing copy. But the cost to have them do that was not worth the return on the investment, because a lot of these posts, you put a post out on social media today, 6 or 7 hours later, it's gone off into the universe. So I knew that wasn't sustainable. And so I remember at one stage, I was getting people to do my post, but it was around about $40 per post. And it was just too expensive. But in the introduction of AI, I realized that AI was a perfect tool for me, because I was very creative with my ideas, but it fixed one thing for me, which was my spelling and grammar. And once I learned how to use AI, it even made my conversational points more interesting, because I'm very big picture, but I know my audience are more detail oriented. I don't necessarily want to write a one-page essay, but they will read a one-page essay. And so in the introduction of AI, I saw that there was a big opportunity, but still you've got to spend time. You've got to invest time in commenting. And it really does take a lot of time. But this technology that you've got is not just creating interesting posts, but it's also saving them a lot of time. So can you step us through how the technology works and the benefits for the end user? And I'll share it up on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we decided we are going to develop something like that, I told to myself, I need to become best in commenting. So I started researching like what's needed for a great comment to achieve its results and its goal. Because when you know how to write comments, they become your asset, the asset that is working for you 24/7. And you can share as many assets as you want, and they work for you. Like I'm sure that many of us would want like hundreds of sales people that are working 24/7 for us while we are sleeping, and they are getting the opportunities for us while we are having fun somewhere or just sleeping. So because of that, I have been heavily researching the topic of commenting, which has helped me to see that actually most of the people on LinkedIn has this problem of commenting. And based on that, I have started coming up with principles that can get you a working comment. And we have been constantly updating the AI with all these principles. So when you go on LinkedIn, because this is possible, and you ask for a comment to generate for you, because this is what the tool does, it generates a valuable and effective comment for you that you can use after that to change a little bit and make it sound more like you by adding your past experience, your tips, your hacks, your knowledge, something that no AI knows. And there is no way for AI to know that, because it can't connect with your brain, at least for now, right? So we have implemented all these principles of great commenting in our tool. So when it generates a comment for you, you have a foundation of a comment that is already very close to a very effective comment. You just need to make it sound like you. And then you click a button, you click a second button, and you have pasted a comment that has a much higher chance to achieve something than someone who is posting a common comment like "great post, nice post, I agree, this is amazing, love it," and things like that, which are
Emoji.
totally waste. Yeah, exactly. You are getting a foundation of something that is based on principles. Principles, we know they don't change, like they're evergreen. Details change, algorithm change, but principles, they don't change. That's why they are called principles. And it took me a lot of time to actually figure this out, like what are these principles. I have talked with many gurus on LinkedIn that are much better than me in commenting, let's say, who have like thousands of comments per post, right? People engage with them because they are really gurus and they really know what they're talking about. So I have implemented all my findings in the tool, together with some fine tuning based on the very, very effective comments that I have written or I have seen some people written. And this way, your comment is based on principles, and your task is to just in the next 10 seconds to add a sentence to change a few words and then copy and paste it on LinkedIn.
It is difficult at times to come up with a response. And it's personally happened to me where I see an article and I think, you know what, I could respond, but maybe I'll do it later. And the reason why I say maybe I'll do it later is because I've got to think through the response. And it's that path of least resistance. But having a tool there to be able to say, this is what I want to express, and then for that tool to apply the principles and to do it for you, it means you can do it there in real time. I know there's an old statistic that a lot of people will handle an email up to 14 times before they actually respond to it. And I've experienced that myself. I've dropped my children to school. I check my emails on the way home. I read them all. Then I think to myself, what should I say to them? And I'll start typing. Then I'll think, I'll just do it when I get home. I get home, I sit down, I say, maybe I've got to think about it a little bit more. And then by the afternoon comes along, I then respond. But I've touched it multiple times. Where if I had a tool there that had principles, I'd say, okay, well, this is what I want to say, formulate this, and I can shoot it off immediately. And that's what I can see happening here.
Yeah, and you're
there's so much.
Right. Yeah.
Leading with value, I think for a lot of people are still scared of the internet, and for them to leave a comment that's going to stay there forever, I think they really have to think about how it looks for their personal brand.
Exactly. One thing that I want to add is that the second reason why we thought that it may be beneficial for people is that when I started commenting and learning to comment, I figured out exactly the thing that you just mentioned. After the 9th or 12th comment, it really depends on my mood, on my tasks for the day, I was blocked. Like I wasn't able to write even a word. I have idea what I want to say here, but I can't state it as a comment at all. And that's why we have this feature where you can write your idea or your ideas, and then the AI, based on the principles, it will write you the comment. That's why you can generate and write many more comments, because when you are stuck with a comment, you are blocked. Like if you don't have this tool, you will forget about LinkedIn, close it, and move to the next task. But when you use the tool and you use it 1, 2nd, and 3rd time in this session of commenting, for the 4th comment, you are not going to need it because your creativity is back. And this is what I have experienced. And right now, in the beginning, I was able to write between 10, 12 comments per day. Now I write more than 200 comments per day.
huge transformation.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about like spending 8 hours. I'm talking about not more than 1 hour.
And in terms of engagement, going up to, where did you start from? How many per day?
I started from 0 per day, but then I moved to 10 or 12 to push myself so I can comment more. And then I slowly build up to 200 now.
And now that you're at 200, what's the transformation that it's creating for you personally? Those people that you want to work with, do you now have that relationship? Are they reaching out to you? What's happening as a result of the 200 comments per day?
I can say many things about that, but the first thing is that I think I'm a better copywriter right now. And people already mentioned this. You can see it under my posts. I'm a fast thinker. Right now, when I see a post, I quickly find out what's the idea behind this post, and I quickly come up with an idea how to respond to this. So it took me like between 5 and 10 seconds to read the post and have a comment already posted. But I still have my situation when I'm blocked, like my mind just stops thinking, and this when I use our tool again. And also, like my posts right now, you can see I have a little bit over 7,000 followers right now. I started with 3,000 in the beginning of this year. Now I have 7,000 followers. I'm getting more than 50 comments under my posts, something that you can see that accounts with more than my followers base, like let's say 50, 60, 100, 200,000 followers, they don't get such engagement. So I have a community behind me that cares about my posts, which is actually my personal brand because they are my brand warriors, right? And also another thing, I'll quickly share a story. There was a person that for one reason, I decided that I want to get him as a connection request and build relationship with him. So I started commenting under his post. And my plan was that after 1 week, I'm going to send him a connection request with related to what I have been commenting under his posts, because his posts are in one niche. So there is something that I can mention related to that. But the fun thing is that on the third day, after me leaving just one comment under his posts every day for 2 days, on the third day, he sent me a connection request with a note asking me to accept his connection request because he likes my comments and how I'm thinking. So this is what I have achieved, which I believe is a huge win. All the things that I mentioned are still huge wins, like especially having a community behind you, but the opportunity to know that you can reach every person on LinkedIn, almost every person, because there are plenty of people that don't use much LinkedIn, but those that use it regularly, and you know that you can get this person as a connection request and all the opportunity that come from that, it's really powerful. Like, I just want to mention one thing about this guy, and it is that he's ultra billionaire. He is spending his time with people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk. So what's the chance for you to be able to talk with such a person in real life? I would say like it's close to zero or even minus zero. And I have been able to get this person to be part of my community on LinkedIn, to chat with this person in a matter of 15 minutes or even less than that. So this is what I have achieved as when I have become a great commenter.
Beautiful. We're going to cut the tape right on that one. Wow. Congratulations. That's